first time I saw Sarah was when she walked into my apartment my senior year.
He was an intern for campus ministry, and he hosted this weekly small group meeting.
Beginning of the year, we were trying to convince people to come to our group every week.
I wanted to make friends because I didn't really have any.
And I heard footsteps coming through the hallway. It was 3 girls, and the first one that I saw come in was Sarah.
I remember walking in the door and seeing Matt and thinking that he was really attractive.
And the moment I saw her, I was like, wow, it's gonna be hard to be like not flirting with this girl.
In May of that year, he left to graduate, and I was going overseas for my sophomore year to study abroad. I never thought I would see him again.
After she had gone her sophomore year to study abroad, I found out I was going to be going to graduate school in Irvine. I asked one of my buddies to kind of check in on her.
So of course, this guy comes back to Pepperdine, the first thing he does is tell half of Pepperdine, that Matt McDonald is asking about me. One of my friends came up to me. They were so excited, and they were like, Sarah, Matt McDonald was asking about you.
Word got out, and she kind of knew that I was asking about her, and it was really it was then when it kind of clicked. There's something between us here.
One night, he said, do you want to go out to dinner somewhere? And I was like, okay, yeah. And so we went out to dinner to this restaurant. After that, we went to this glow-in-the-dark putt-putt place. There was this couple in front of us that were walking really slow. And Matt was like, oh, here, let's get around them. And he reached out his hand to grab mine. And so, of course, I, accepted. And we got around the couple, and I was like, okay, cool, we're done holding hands. But we weren't done holding hands.
That was the first time I held her hand. And I did that kind of awkwardly, but it was a great memory.
I don't know, I felt like I was 12 years old. I was so excited about it.
I was kind of deciding, do I let the girl win? Because everybody's telling me, whenever you play sports with a girl you're trying to score points with, you gotta let her win. I tried to feel her out, and she sunk a couple holes real fast, and I was like, okay, game on. It was really frustrating because I was trying and not really doing well. I think in the end, I actually won, and I ended up scoring the scorecard so that she won.
Right before Christmas, I was really sad that I was not going to spend Christmas with him.
I thought at first it'd be okay, just a couple weeks apart. Once she started packing, I just really started to miss her.
I remember getting on the plane to go home, and I was just really sad.
It's just horrible, being apart from each other. We just like being around each other so much. And I decided that I want to be able to ask her parents for her hand in marriage. And what better time and what better excuse to go at Christmas time. So we worked it out so that, I would show up in Dallas, and while Sarah was away, I would be waiting for her in her living room.
So I get home, and my dad comes running out the door, and he's like, Sarah, we need you to come inside. And so we go into the living room, and there's this huge Christmas present, a box, underneath the tree.
And I had made this big Christmas box, with a lid, all wrapped in wrapping paper, a big bow.
And so I'm thinking my parents probably got me some giant Care Bear or something. And I opened the lid off, and Matt pops out wearing this Santa hat. I was kind of in shock at first, because I was not expecting this at all.
It was the best Christmas ever. And during that time, I found a couple of moments to talk to her parents. They were kind of taken aback because they thought just the surprise of being there was enough. But I, showed them the ring and said, I want to do this, and if it's okay with you, I'm going to take good care of her.
It was Monday, and Matt said, hey, do you mind if we just go out tonight, just you and me? He was like, I'll take care of all the details. And so him and my dad went out for the day to go play golf.
We went golfing that day, and her dad and I went to the spot where I wanted to propose. We kind of scoped it out, and then we went to the restaurant that we were going to go to. And I worked it out with the hostess and the manager. When we showed up that night, they were going to tell us, I'm sorry, your reservation isn't for an hour later.
When we got to the restaurant, the host said, you guys are an hour early. He was like, well, you guys, there's a couple of shops across the street that you guys could go and look at and just walk around for an hour to kill some time.
We checked out the shops for a little bit, and I took her around the corner to where there was this horse and carriage company.
So we got in a carriage, and it took us looking at some Christmas lights, which was really cool. And it stopped at this gazebo. And the driver said, if you want to go over there, this is a really popular place for couples to take pictures.
As we were walking up, Sarah sees the scene.
There's rose petals on the ground going over to this bench inside the gazebo. And on the bench is this book.
And it was a storybook about how we met and how our relationship developed, leading up to this very point where it even talks about how Matt takes her to see the lights and even plays her this song.
And the very last page said, and then Matt played Sarah a song he had written for her a long time ago.
And at that point, I take out this guitar out of nowhere, and I start playing her this song that I had written for her before I decided that I wanted to be her boyfriend.
So I'm starting to cry, and I'm still thinking like this, I'm not letting myself think that this is a proposal. So after the song, I stand up to hug him, and he says, well, wait, there's one more thing. At this point, I know, and so I'm wearing these gloves, and so I slowly like slip off my left-hand glove, and he gets down on one knee.
And at that point, I pulled out the ring from my pocket and asked her to be my wife. And she said yes.
Of course I said yes. Then my parents and my best friend and a couple of Matt's friends all emerge from their hiding places onto this gazebo. It was a really cool experience. It was the perfect proposal. I couldn't have asked for anything better than that.
The fact that I get to marry her, that's winning the lottery right there.